They attack because they are sick, and they hide this with hatred. Not every criticism is sincere. Not every sideways glance is by chance. Some people cannot stand your light, not because you did something wrong, but because your presence exposes the emptiness they hide. The attack often comes as an attempt to silence what makes you true, because they themselves lost that a long time ago. On the outside, they try to seem secure. They use sarcasm, arrogance, control. But on the inside, they are in pieces, and instead of healing, they prefer to hurt. Wounded people attack, not out of pure malice, but because they are emotionally and spiritually sick. And the most dangerous part? They do this while hiding their pain with pretty words or subtle behaviors. You feel when something is wrong, when the energy is heavy, when the presence is unsettling for no clear reason. This discomfort is not for nothing. You are perceiving the truth that lies behind the appearance. And often those who pretend to be well are the ones who need healing the most, but are not ready for it. You are not here by chance. If you feel these attacks, this invisible pressure, it is because your presence has strength. And the more you shine, the more you unsettle those who live in the shadows. The good news: you don't need to retaliate. You just need to stay strong. Before continuing, follow the channel and turn on notifications. What lies behind the attacks? Not every criticism is a fair judgment. Not every provocation is a legitimate warning. Often, behind an attack, there is untreated pain, an unexposed wound, a deep emotional imbalance. Those who attack with anger, irony, or disdain are often trying to divert their own pain, masking an emptiness they still do not know how to handle. When someone is bothered by you for no apparent reason, it is not because you did something wrong. It is because your presence, your peace, or your light reveals something that this person hides from themselves. You become a mirror, and not everyone wants to see themselves truly. They prefer to accuse the reflection than to face the source of the pain. Wounded people do not always attack out of malice. They attack out of imbalance. There are people who have been so hurt that they have lost the reference of what is healthy. They live in defensive mode, ready to retaliate even against what is not a threat. When they encounter someone stable, calm, and firm, they feel confronted. Your tranquility becomes a trigger. These attacks do not reveal strength. They reveal fragility. No one at peace needs to prove anything. No one healed needs to hurt. What happens is that these emotionally sick people use criticism as a release valve. They project onto others what they cannot bear to see in themselves. Hostility is just a superficial layer. Beneath it lies pain. It is important to understand. Recognizing this hidden pain does not mean accepting abuse or justifying offenses. It is not about glossing over things. It is about clarity. When you understand what is really happening, you do not absorb other people's energy as something personal. You begin to see more clearly. The problem is internal and not yours. This perception changes everything. You stop blaming yourself. You stop getting into unnecessary arguments. You learn to separate what is yours from what belongs to others. You create emotional space between what is said to you and what you accept as truth. This filter protects you, and it positions you. Spiritual maturity does not come when you respond with force, but when you choose not to be contaminated. You can say no, withdraw, cut contact, but without carrying bitterness. It is not revenge, it is protection. You no longer engage in battles that are not yours. You prefer silence, a firm presence, the peace of knowing who you are. And the more conscious you become, the easier it is to identify these disguised attacks. They can come in the form of jokes, constructive criticism, concern. But your body feels, your spirit knows. Energy does not lie, and by recognizing this, you distance yourself without needing to prove anything. Because peace speaks loudly, and truth does too. Instead of retaliating, you withdraw. Instead of justifying, you observe. Instead of reacting, you preserve yourself. This is not weakness. It is refined strength. It is emotional intelligence guided by spiritual discernment. It is knowing that not everything deserves a response, but everything needs positioning. Disguised aggression, sudden disdain, acidic comments. All of this says more about the other than about you. And when you understand this truth, something changes within you. You do not falter. You protect yourself. You grow. When aggression reveals its presence, sometimes the mere fact of you entering a space already causes discomfort. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because your presence carries something true. And the truth, even in silence, confronts. When someone attacks you for no reason, tries to disqualify you, or belittles who you are, that says a lot about what you represent. Those who try to extinguish your light are, most of the time, trying to protect their own shadow. It is a natural reaction from those who live hidden behind masks. When they feel your firmness, your clarity, or your calm, these people feel threatened. Not by you, but by what you awaken in them. The feeling that something needs to be reassessed. Your presence reveals what they try to hide, and this bothers them. Because you vibrate at a different frequency. You do not pretend. You do not force. You simply are. And that is enough to provoke unexpected reactions in others. The more authentic you become, the harder it is for those who live for appearances to feel comfortable around you. They sense that you are anchored in something deeper, that you do not need to prove anything, that you do not play the same game. And this disrupts their script, because many build their relationships on control, comparison, and influence, and you do not fit into those roles. You walk with lightness, but with strength. That is why often you will be the target of subtle attempts at nullification. Sidelong glances, sarcastic comments, provocations disguised as jokes. All of this reflects the unease that your presence generates. But instead of questioning yourself, remember, you did not cause this discomfort. You only revealed what was already there, hidden. These reactions show that you are visible, that your light is on, that your energy is affecting the environment. And that is a sign that you are on the right path. The truth bothers those who are used to lies. Coherence bothers those who live behind a facade. Your presence reminds these people of what they try to forget. Moreover, often behind the attack, there is unresolved admiration. People do not know how to deal with what they cannot control. And your freedom, your firmness, your connection to something greater, causes a kind of silent envy. Not because you have more, but because you are more you. And this unsettles those who have lost themselves. You do not need to change who you are to please or relieve the discomfort of others. Nor do you need to hide to make spaces feel lighter. You are not here to mold yourself to others' discomfort. You are here to remain whole, even when that provokes deconstructions around you. And if they look at you with disdain, if they try to discredit you or make you doubt your own strength, remember, this is not about you being too much. It is about the other not being able to sustain what you awaken in them. You are a mirror, and mirrors frighten those who are not ready to see themselves truly. When aggression comes, do not be confused. It is not a sign that you are wrong. It is a sign that you have touched deeply, that your truth has surpassed the surface, and that your presence carries more impact than you imagine. Because their fall is inevitable, Life has a silent way of settling accounts. There is no need for scandal, revenge, or confrontation. Time, awareness, and energy take care of that. Those who live by provoking, manipulating, or sabotaging others carry within themselves an emotional time bomb. It may not explode today, but one day, it will exact its price. When someone feeds their own existence by draining the energy of others, the fall is inevitable. Not because you wish for it, but because everything built on lies, envy, or arrogance begins to crumble from within. Gradually, the body, mind, and relationships of that person start showing signs. Recurring illnesses, inexplicable crises, insomnia, deep anxiety. These symptoms do not arise from nowhere. They are echoes of unresolved emotions, of poisons that were sent out but never stopped fermenting inside. The body is honest. It speaks what the mouth silences. It reveals what the ego hides. Meanwhile, you grow. In silence, in peace. You heal. You rebuild your truth. You become stronger. Your energy cleanses, and your vibration elevates. And this creates a contrast that life does not ignore. On one side, the lie begins to crumble. On the other, the truth begins to blossom. Not because someone won, but because everything returns to its rightful place. The person who once looked down on you, mocked you, or belittled you may still continue to pretend strength. But you feel the weight. You notice it in their gaze, in the fatigue, in the confusion they try to disguise. What was once arrogance is now resistance, a desperate attempt to maintain an image that is collapsing internally. Energy reflects back, not as punishment, but as learning. Those who live in spiritual dishonesty with others, sooner or later, are forced to look at themselves. The truth demands its presence, and when it arrives, it does not scream. It simply asserts itself, and those who pretended must face their own reflection. Your evolution is a mirror of the character's bankruptcy that they created. Your lightness reveals the weight they carry. Your peace exposes the internal noise they can no longer disguise. And you do not need to do anything. Just continue to stand firm, authentic, and real. The rest life will take care of. The importance of keeping distance. When you realize that someone is falling on their own, there is an almost natural temptation to look, follow, and observe every detail, as if this would confirm that you were right all along. But in practice, this vigilance drains your energy. Watching someone else's fall does not accelerate your healing. It only delays your peace. What you need now is to keep your distance, not as an escape, nor as arrogance, but as a conscious act of protection. Distance is a spiritual choice. It is a clear boundary between what affects you and what you no longer need to carry. The moments you've tried to fix what wasn't yours are enough. Keeping away is not a sign of coldness. It is maturity. You can care, wish well, and pray in silence, but you no longer need to get involved. Distance is not an absence of love. It is the presence of clarity. Those who continue to expose themselves to environments or people that harm their soul are betraying themselves. You are not obligated to keep interacting with those who try to dismantle you, nor to participate in the rebuilding of those who disrespected you. Distance preserves your emotional field. And more, it prevents you from reshaping yourself to fit into places where you were never truly welcome. Maintaining distance also avoids a common mistake: falling into the trap of spiritual pride. Wanting to witness the fall of another as a form of compensation only puts you back in the same toxic cycle. Your victory is silent, and it manifests in the lightness with which you move forward, without the need to prove anything. And when you choose to step back without anger, something powerful happens. Your energy begins to expand. You stop being a hostage to others' behavior. You start living for yourself, not for those who hurt you. Distance not only protects, it regenerates. It is in this space between you and the other that true healing is born. Because you begin to invest time in yourself, in your peace, in your journey. And if before your energy was consumed with justifications, now it is directed toward your expansion. This is freedom. This is respect for all that you have learned. If you are accused of coldness for stepping back, remember, only you know how much you exhausted yourself trying to maintain ties that were already broken on the inside. And if they try to pull you back with promises or guilt, know how to recognize some doors need to remain closed, not out of pride, but for sanity. Distance is wisdom. It is understanding that you cannot save those who have not yet recognized that they need to be saved, nor heal those who still cling to their own pain. Your part has been done, and now what remains for you is to move forward with lightness, firm, at peace with the decision to preserve yourself. Silence as a weapon of light. Silence is not absence, it is pure presence. It is the choice not to react when you know that your peace is worth more than any response. It is the maturity to understand that not everything deserves an explanation, because some provocations are merely traps disguised as dialogue. Silencing, in this case, is not retreating. It is mastery. When you stop reacting to the attack, something disarms. The one who wanted to see you off balance loses control of the game. The script was simple. Provoke, wait for your imbalance, and then use that against you. But when your response is silence, the game falls apart. There is no stage anymore. There is no audience. There is only you, whole. Silencing in the face of malice is different from being silent out of fear. It is choosing internal truth over external noise. It is sparing yourself the loss of energy from discussions that build nothing. And when you do this consciously, you become unreachable. Because most manipulations depend on your reaction to work. Many can only maintain power when someone responds as expected. When you remain intact, their power evaporates. Your peace is the greatest threat to those who thrive on chaos. Silence breaks the cycle of control. It frustrates the aggressor's expectations and shows that you are on another level of consciousness. And yet, silence speaks. It communicates more powerfully than any argument. Your absence of response screams truths that words could never express. Your demeanor becomes a mirror. And what does it reflect? Hypocrisy, the game, camouflaged aggression. The other perceives that they have been seen. And this is unbearable for those who pretend the entire time. This type of silence is a force field. It protects you without hardening you. It centers you without distancing you from empathy. It is firmness with compassion. You do not need to hurt to defend yourself. You just need to remain at peace, firm in who you are. And this, in itself, repels everything that vibrates outside of your frequency. You are not ignoring. You are choosing. You are saying with silence that you will no longer accept being a stage for anyone else's imbalance, that your energy will no longer serve as nourishment for anyone, and that your consciousness, now awakened, will not be used as a tool in the theater of others. That is why many distance themselves from you after your silence. They cannot bear the echo it creates. They cannot handle seeing that they no longer have control. And more than that, they do not know how to deal with someone who does not respond as expected. Your silence has become a mirror, and the reflection is not pleasing. Remaining silent, in this case, is to keep shining without explaining yourself. It is to keep growing without justifying yourself. It is to allow life to respond to what you have chosen not to verbalize. And it always responds. Because truth does not need defense. It only needs presence. While those who have hurt you remain trapped in their own masks, you choose to rebuild, not in a rush, nor with a spectacle, but with firmness and truth. Your healing does not need a stage. It happens in the silent routine, in the small habits, in the sincere gestures you make for yourself. And that is where the true turning point begins. You begin to take care of your mind with more presence. You are more selective about what you listen to, who you talk to, and what nourishes your thoughts. You take care of your body, your sleep, your nutrition, without anxiety, but with awareness. And most importantly, you start to respect your spirit. You understand that peace is not a luxury. It is a necessity, and you cultivate it with care. You move forward, creating a new life from your truth, new routines, new people, new purposes. And none of this requires you to prove anything to anyone. The lightness in your days becomes your response. The tranquility in your gaze reveals what words cannot express. You are coming back home, to yourself. This silent reconstruction is the greatest justice that exists, because it happens without noise, without revenge, without an audience. It is you with yourself. And those who hurt you feel this. They feel that you no longer depend on them, and that the pain that once held you back has become a lesson. They will realize sooner or later that they did not take you away. They returned you to yourself. And most importantly, you are not doing this to prove that you have won. You are doing it because you deserved this peace all along. You just did not yet know how to access it. And now that you have discovered it, you will not go back. Your light has turned on inside. Your strength is solid. Your soul is clean. They remain trapped in their own cycle. Meanwhile, you live another time, a time of truth, of respectful silence, of expansion. Those who vibrate high do not need to step on anyone. You do not need their fall to rise. You have already risen, and you are going further than you ever imagined. Your healing is silent but perceptible. It shines in the details, in the new boundaries, in the restored peace. And that is what sets you apart now. You no longer carry the pain. You carry wisdom. And those who see you today may not understand your change, but you understand. And that is enough. You did not need to announce victory. Your energy did that for you. Your care for yourself, your lightness, your tranquility in the face of what once shook you. All of this has become living proof that those who remain whole always win. Even without trophies, even without an audience, even without the explicit fall of others. While they maintain appearances, you maintain presence. While they try to seem strong, you no longer need to prove anything. Their bodies are beginning to manifest what the ego refuses to admit. And you do not need to celebrate that. Just recognize. The deliverance arrived when you chose to heal and move on. The most beautiful part is that your glow is now not forced. It springs from balance, from awareness, from self-love. It has nothing to do with boasting. It has to do with truth. You did not rebuild yourself to be better than anyone. You rebuilt yourself to be whole again. And that, in itself, is already too much light. This glow that now emanates from you is a consequence. It shows who you have become after everything. And it also shows who they have never been able to be, despite the masks. This is not about superiority. It is about coherence. The light simply reveals what the shadow tried to hide. You did not erase memories, but you cleaned up the residues, and that transformed your energy. What once hurt you now teaches you. What once bound you now frees you. The reflection of who they were has ceased to have space within you, and who you are today no longer carries open scars. You carry wisdom. Those who observe you today may not understand how you got here, but you know. You remember what you overcame, the strength you needed to access, and the choice you made every day. to remain whole, even when everything tried to break you. Continue on this path. Maintain the boundaries. Honor your truth. Karma, when it exists, does not take revenge. It reveals. And your own light does this work with elegance, silence, and consistency. After everything, the only thing that remained was you. More aware, more steadfast, more true. And that is not little. It is the reflection of everything you chose to leave behind. The chaos you did not respond to. The battles you did not fight. The pain you did not return. The light you kept burning even in the dark. You learned to heal without seeking revenge. To grow without stepping on others. To distance yourself without hatred. Your silence became clarity. Your presence became a boundary. Your healing became a response. Time revealed who was pretending to be strong and who built truth. And today you know that you do not need to prove anything anymore. You just need to remain whole. This journey did not make you better than anyone. It made you better for yourself. You ceased to be a reflection of others' pain and became a mirror of healing. This changes everything, because now you no longer shrink to fit in. You no longer distort yourself to be accepted, and you no longer lose energy trying to explain what can only be felt. If you have made it this far, take this with you. You do not need anyone's fall to feel strong. Your light, your awareness, and your peace are already signs of victory, and no one can take that away. Keep doing what only you know how to do, being real, even amid the false. Now I want to know from you, what part of this content resonated with you the most? Comment below with a sentence, a feeling, or something you noticed within yourself during this reading. Let's strengthen this space together with more truth, awareness, and presence.